Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. I don't know if you're able to see behind me, but of course, we got new posters of beautiful new posters of Just Enough Heshy, and of course, you see the big sign over there, Heshy for City Council with HeshyTishler.com. Let me tell you, babies, I'm ready to rock and roll, and I want you to know my dear friend that I'm going to introduce now, my wonderful co-host, Ezra Levy. Ezra, how are you?
Thank you. How are you?
Happy New Year, my brother.
You too, my friend.
How was your New Year?
Nice and quiet.
Really? Mine too. You know what we did? We bought pizza and French fries, and we went over to my son, and we met my grandson, Yeshua Emmanuel. I babysat him for like an hour, and I tried to give him French fries, but my son and daughter-in-law didn't let me.
I hear you. He's a month old?
2 months.
Okay.
Tishlers like to eat, you know what I mean?
Yes, they do.
You can see that. By the way, I quit smoking for 4 weeks already. You know that?
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know, I hold that. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. You know, I hired a new campaign manager, a wonderful guy, Jeff. I don't know if he wants me to say his last name. And Aaron, my lawyer, he called me today. He says, "Heshy, can I say that you're my client?" I said, "Can I tell people you're my lawyer?" He says, "Well, I'm not sure yet, Heshy."
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I know. I hate you too. Even though I love you. Anyways, I want to first do a couple of shout-outs to my wonderful friend and Sergeant Peter. Of course, my granddaughter, Mira Nava, Layla, my other granddaughter, and, of course, my grandson, Yeshua Emmanuel, which I don't like the name Emmanuel. I like Yeshua better, but, you know, I got no choice. It cost me a lot of money to have him. Anyways, everybody, we're going to have a great show. We have Ray Denaro. He's a wonderful guy. He's going to be on the show. He's going to laugh at my joke. You're not going to laugh at my joke this week. You're dead, even though I know you pre-read the joke. You little.
I didn't even read it yet.
Good. I'm happy because I want you to be unprepared for this joke.
You got it.
At Ray Denaro, he ran for city council. He is intelligent. He's smart. He knows politics. He knows the Republican Party. He knows what's going on. He knows how to make changes, and I'm going to try to con this guy into helping me because I need a lot of help, and I'm going to win this election. And, you know, I want to tell you what happened this week. You know that Kalman Yeager, my opponent, came over to me and told me not to run for office. You know that. I told you guys that. This week, your assemblyman, Simcha Eichenstein, told me not to run for office, and he's my friend. And you know what I told Simcha? Not only am I running, I'm going to put up a candidate against you next year. He says, well, Heshy, you're not going to be able to raise money. Let me tell you, my dear friends, HeshyTishler.com. You people came through 100 in less than a week. In less than a week, I got 140 contributions ranging about $21,000. We are going to hit $120,000 by the 15th of January. Do you understand me, guys? We're going to have enough money. The most we can spend for round one is 180. We're going to have enough money to go against Kalman Yeager. And we know that Kalman Yeager is going to object to my signatures. So, Kalman, if you want to act not like a man and not let me run even though you always promise, we're going to object to your signatures. So I want you to know something. We're going to be fair with you, and I'm going to beg Ray to see if I can be helped with the Republican Party, and I'm going to beg the Republican Executive Committee, which my friends are working on, to tell them not to let him run because he's not a Republican. He's not going to do good for you. And you know what? Even if I'm not a Republican or I am a Republican, I'm going to do good for this city for everybody. And that's what's happening. Anyways, let me start our show. We're going to start our show quickly with, of course, a beautiful commercial for Ezra Levy, attorney at law. Specializes in all criminal matters, including weapons possession, drug offenses, domestic violence, theft offenses, assaults, DWI, criminal and family court, order of protection defense. By the way, Ezra got pulled over today by a cop.
A state trooper in New Jersey.
A state trooper. Look how good he was. He talked himself out of a 200 ticket plus 4 points on his license, and he got it down to $55. Now, he doesn't do that, but I want you to know Ezra is such a good lawyer. He can even fight a criminal. Was it a criminal
Moving
ticket?
violations.
Was it a criminal ticket because you're over a certain amount of miles, you go to jail?
The state trooper was a very kind gentleman. And
Well,
he treated me like a gentleman.
Because you're a
appreciate
gentleman, Ezra.
That's exactly it.
Anyways, 917-755-1187. Ezra, what's that number?
917-755-1187. You could also email me at EzraLevyLawFirm@gmail.com. That's Ezra's Levy Law Firm @gmail.com.
917-755-1187. And you know, I was giving out today a commercial for, I was doing an ad for a place called Pesach Delivered. I didn't post it yet. We're not doing it. But these guys, they pick up your stuff in your house. They deliver it to Florida right to your front door. Wonderful people. And I was joking around. I said, Linda's got these box of shoes she likes to take all over the place. And I hate them. And, they're going to deliver her shoes. And they're going to deliver those big pocketbooks full of cash. You know what I mean?
So you're going to Florida
So
for Pesach, huh?
Linda was filming me doing the commercial. And he says, nobody's touching my pocketbook. No, we're not going to Florida for Pesach. At least we haven't decided yet. Right now, we're home. And we're going to do my joke. First, we're going to do the quote. And here's my quote, ladies and gentlemen. Life is a long lesson in humility. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. I know life is tough. I like joyous every single day. I know there will be joy and I know there will be sadness, but I know humility, okay? And I know what my dreams are. And, again, people are telling me, like I told you, a judge, a guy who ran for judge, he says, Heshy, why are you doing this? Why are you going through this? I know what humility is. I know what other people have to struggle. I know that I have 150 people that don't have food this week that I had to produce food for. I met a woman that did not have food for Shabbos that ate milk and challah. I am the luckiest man in the world. And I'm so proud. Linda today came with me to Farakaway. We did a inspection on a synagogue that's in trouble. And I want you to know, Linda stood there with me. She served her day with me. She said, Heshy, are you making money? I said, yeah. She was happy. But you have to have humility. And I have the dreams. I believe in my dreams. I believe I'm going to win this time. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to fight. I know last time I believed I was going to win, but too many people were up against me. This time, I'm ready for the war. I have a professional campaign manager. I have a professional accountant that's not going to mess me up like last time. I have a professional lawyer who not only, he's the one who helped fight the redistricting. That's how good of a team I have. I have a guy that's going to go door to door. He's a professional signature guy. My team this time is a professional team. Yes, I'm going to have to listen. I'm going to be different. But I want you to know we're ready to rock and roll, and we're ready for phase 2. Once I collect, I need another 10 grand, everybody. So HeshyTishler.com, sign up, join up, $25, $35, $175 would be great. That's the most you can give, and I'd love it. Anyways, here's my joke of the day, and I think it's very funny, and I hope you're ready for this. I know Ray's going to like it. A few years ago, against my wishes, Linda got a black cat. And you know what she named him? Felix.
Felix the cat.
Felix the cat, like when we grew up as a kid, he was a cartoon. Mm-hmm. And he spent his days outside all day long, and he came indoors at night. I hated the cat. One cool winter evening, he disappeared. Wow, I was so happy. But Linda made us all crazy, and she made me and the kids search for this cat for several days. Finally, we gave up. The following spring, however, you're not going to believe it, Felix reappeared, looking healthy and clean. So Linda said to me, he must have been out sowing his oats. I said, wow, he looks good. He sowed his oats well. Everything was back to normal till the autumn came, till the fall. And all of a sudden, Felix disappeared again. Linda was making me crazy, and it was perplexed. She went door to door, knocking on doors. Anybody who saw the black cat, finally she rang a bell of an older couple down the block. And she says, did you see a black cat? And the woman said, yes. Me and my husband hated to see the cat on the cold, so we bought a cat carrier. We took him to Florida with us last year, and we brought him back this year. Did you get it?
God, it's not funny.
She took him to Florida.
I got it.
And then she brought him back, and that's why we got him back. And
this is funny how?
It's funny because she thought the cat just came back and went away.
Heshy, let's get a new joke writer, please.
Wow.
Okay.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny that Linda even thought the cat was okay. No,
right.
I hate you. Anyways, if you thought that was funny, make a comment. Let's see. Did anybody comment about it?
Not yet.
No. They said they only like wet bread on concrete. I don't know what that means. Anyways, we're going to start our show, Ray Denaro, and I want to ask you a question. And we're going to ask this to Ray. Now, me and Ezra were talking before the show. You know that we have a problem with the House. We have a problem with the Democrats. We have a problem with the Senate. So finally, we got a Republican House. Simple. We're taking over the government. Everything should run smooth as a Republican.
Not as smooth as we think.
There were 7 votes today for White House Speaker.
I think it was They had the 7th or 6th?
Sixth, and I think there was sixth.
It's
and
3 yesterday, 3 today, maybe 4
I think
today.
there was a seventh. Anyways, they had these things, and he couldn't win McCarthy. According to Ezra, if there's no House Speaker, none of the congressmen could be sworn in.
The first step in every new Congress is that that you have to have a speaker. So until a speaker is selected, all 400, and I guess right now it's 434,
Right,
because
one
one
of them
passed
died,
away. So
right.
all 434 members are really right now representatives elect. None of them got sworn
so
in.
they can't pass a budget. We can't.
Government
Basically, the government is shut down.
The government cannot continue. Well, the government's not shut down yet because they're under continuing resolution from last year.
From last year,
But but they cannot conduct any new business as the
and
House.
the Senate can't get anything.
Well, the
because
Senate
House-
could do whatever it wants, but it can't get a bill does not become a law until it passes both houses.
Wow. So basically, we're right back to it. And you're telling me that this could, if McCarthy never gets chosen in because the right-wing Republicans don't like him, this could go on for 2 years and we could not have a Congress.
It's happened that they've gone actually a few months without a speaker.
Oh, it has?
In the 1800s happened once, but this is like unheard of in modern times. What's going to happen is this: there's a lot of backroom dealings.
Why don't we like McCarthy?
But I like it's not that you don't like McCarthy. I mean, first of all, just numbers wise, most of the only reason the Republicans have the House is because of Kevin McCarthy. He became leader 2 election cycles ago, 4 years ago. Once he became leader, he won over 20. I think he turned over 20 seats the same year that Donald Trump lost the presidency to Biden. The Republicans gained 20 seats in the House, which was amazing. And now they got the House back under his leadership. As the leader, part of his responsibilities is really running the campaigns and recruiting other Republicans.
But they show there's another guy running. Who's this guy running against him?
No, he's not running. Byron Donalds is not running against him. Byron Donalds is a name that they threw out. I mean, they threw out Jim Jordan's name. Also,
but Byron Donaldson is a black guy.
He is a relatively new member of Congress. I think this might be his 2nd or 3rd term.
So he has no chance.
It's not that he has no chance. Any member of Congress or even non-member of Congress has a chance.
But like you told me that they're not going to sit George Santos and this guy from Long Island that lied.
George Santos.
He sat and he voted. He voted.
He's going to be sad. I told you. There's nothing to stop him from taking a seat and being sworn in. Right now, nobody could be. None of these members have been sworn in
so there's no
until there's
committee.
A speaker. There isn't.
There's no ethics committee.
There's no committees.
There's no committee. Now, if McCarthy gets elected and McCarthy is using George Santos, won't McCarthy tell the ethics committee back off?
No. Well, all right. So the ethics committee is the only committee in the House that's actually equal numbers of Republicans and equal numbers of Democrats. And trust me, most of the Republicans do not want Santos there anymore.
Really?
He is not worth the headache.
Wow.
He's not worth the headache. So he's going to, unless he might get indicted first, but.
Indicted for what? He didn't do nothing wrong. He lied.
No, he might have stolen some.
They said he stole money from Brazil.
That's beside the point. That first of all, that is a crime, but it's also there's a lot of mystery to how he made his millions, and there's a lot of mystery to how he was financing his campaign. So if
but
he
campaign
made
finance board is auditing him, and they didn't find anything.
First they're investigating right now. He made $700,000 loan to his campaign. Okay, where did that money come from? Who's he beholden to?
What do you mean? He loaned his own money.
Where did he get that money from? 3 years ago, the guy didn't have $40,000 to his name.
Is that a fact?
He was.
Is that a fact?
Yes.
Did somebody see his tax returns?
Nobody had to see his tax returns. The guy he didn't pay his rent. He was taken to court and he was default.
And there's a lot of rich people that don't want to pay the rent.
I agree with you. So the question is, where does money come from? But it seems like everything he said so far has turned out to be a lie. Where he went to high school, where he went to college, where he worked.
Those again are not criminal things.
They aren't. But
the ethics committee can only throw you out for criminal, not for lying.
That's not technically true. That's
not
technically true. Any ethics violation could be enough to do it. But the thing is,
now let me switch subjects. Lester Chang got sworn in, and is sitting there, and nobody's saying a word.
And they might kick him out still.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, they
You
might kick
said
him
they
out.
weren't even going to swear him in. They weren't even going to give him a
I
seat.
was under the impression that that's what they were trying to do.
Right, and they had that right. They had that right. But
Right.
They gave. So once he's sworn in, who's going to throw him out now? The ethics committee?
Well, they have the hearing, and they're going to have this decision as to whether or not he met his residency requirements. And if they try to kick him out, I'm sure he's going to do an Article 78 petition to keep himself in. He's a duly elected member of the state assembly.
So he's even if they throw him out, they can't throw him out till he goes.
But
to
I don't
court.
know what the procedure is. And there has to be a procedure.
Wow, too complicated. Anyways, I want to put my friend, my good friend, on the phone, Ray Denaro, and I want to tell you a little bit more about him. He had vaccine mandates for city workers and the handling of COVID. He was against it. He was against the fact that small businesses were closed and big businesses were open. I want to talk to him about crime in New York City. This is a man who knows stuff, and I want you to know, crime in New York City is crazy. Today I heard Eric Adams getting upset that Bill de Blasio, from all
Right.
people, one of his speakers or his public relations guy is knocking Adams.
Right.
Adams says, "Don't knock me, come help me."
Right.
But Mr. Adams, you said you're going to do a great job. You said this crime is down. Rape is up. Crime is up. Even at the New Year's, by the way,
3
Happy
cops
New
got
Year
the
to all-
shot, yeah.
They got stabbed. I mean, you're too busy looking at our bags of for stupidity and drinking. You're not busy looking for weapons or
Well,
crazy people.
Again, well, first of all, this is the same Mayor Adams who gave Bill de Blasio B+
Yeah.
for his handling everything. But it's
Let me ask
I
that
think
to Ray. Ray, are you on the phone with us, Ray? Hello?
I am. How are you?
Hello, Ray. Welcome to the Just Enough Heshy Show. Me and Ezra, we were just talking about you, and we want to ask you a question. Number one, we know that you ran for city council, and also you have something called the BK community.
Sure. It's the Bensonhurst, Bass Beach, and Gravesend Alliance. It's a community organization that I started back in November of 2019.
And you are like advocates against, I mean, of course, helping the community, but against, I'm sure, fighting that stupid homeless shelter that I think you guys were very part involved in knocking as well, right?
Yeah, there was 2 in the community that they're trying to build. They're still trying to build them, and we're fighting very diligently about it. The best part about this organization is that it's non-political, pretty much. It's a community organization that helps all walks of life. I would work with Republicans. I would work with Democrats. I would work with anyone that basically has the motivation and conviction to work for our community. I started the organization in 2019 with a Democrat, Steve Patzer. He's no longer part of the organization, but he was very helpful in ways, and we found ways to work together, even though we were on opposite sides of the aisle politically. But we did everything, and we actually started up right before the COVID-19 pandemic. And once that hit, we had to jump into action. And we were inexperienced in certain ways with a pandemic, of course, and running a nonprofit organization at this time. But we learned very quickly. We ran several food drives that helped people in many ways. We probably serviced over 1,500 meals to people who needed. We provided masks, gloves, testing. We even provided vaccination sites where people were not educated enough about the vaccination process to go get it. So we did a lot of things, that was non-political, but both of us obviously on the political forefront of our respective parties. So it was a great experience. It continues to be a great experience, and it's just something I want to continue and hopefully keep going.
I hear good things about you, Ray. But Ray, can I ask you a personal question, if you don't mind? And it has a lot to do with me. You ran as a Republican for city council. Am I correct?
You are correct, yeah.
Now, you didn't win because of whatever stupid reasons. You should have won. My question to you is, let's just say you would have won. I mean, like Ina Vernikova, she won. What could have you done in city council being one of 8 council members? Would have they laughed at you? Look at what Ezra tells me. They won't put you on a committee, or they'll sit you on the side there, or there's nothing you could do. What could have we done? Because I'm running as a Republican, and I want to win, and I want to make a change. What are your ideas for me, or what would have you done if you got into city council as a Republican?
Sure. So in City Hall, obviously in the minority, it's very difficult to make headway. You have to really sort of formulate things to where both parties we'll listen, we'll respect, and hopefully get some things done on that front. But in your community, there's a lot you can do, and it starts with listening to your constituents. I know that when I ran for city council, I would door knock, and the first thing I would ask people are, what are your top three concerns? And actually, I advise you to do this, and I have a feeling that all three concerns are going to be very, very similar to what everybody else is saying. They're worried about crime, they're worried about property taxes, they're worried about legal home conversions, things of this nature. That people want quality of life issues solved, so you got to get to the crux.
Yeah, but
of how to solve quality of life
but
issues.
even so, you're right, and I do knock on doors, and I do speak to them. But look, the city council during the pandemic raised taxes by 18% when I was against that, and I argued with it. And there's nothing you could do to stop it. I know about that. I know about building department issues, and I'm going to fight with them, even though I believe that a lot of the conversions should be allowed. The city just gives them a hard time, and there's so many good ways to legalize this space that they don't want to legalize, or people are using illegally. If we show them how to make it more safer, we could use this place that the people are hiding to do better. But I agree, and crime, I mean, there's nothing we could do about it. They have no solution on crime.
Well, I think what Ray's trying to say is that these three concerns are everybody's concerns, whether you're Republican,
he's telling me to ask, what am I going to do? I'm asking Ray, how can I do something?
I think that what Ray's trying to say is these are universal concerns of every New Yorker, those three things. So that even Democrats, if they listen to their constituents, you might be able to work across the aisle and make some headway. And even if not, at least you could take it back to the next cycle and throw it in their faces.
Okay, well,
actually, have you ever heard the term? I'm sure you have. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Correct.
When I ran for the city council in 2017, at the time, there were 3 council members who were Republican. All of them were in actually, 2 of them were in Staten Island, 1 of them was in Queens. And now you're telling me that 5 years later, that's more than doubled. Not only that, but you have a Democrat who recently just switched to the Republican Party, and you see this on not only a local level with Ari Kagan, but you see it on a national level with the likes of Tulsi Gabbard, where people are either looking at the Democratic Party, realizing how far left they've gone, and how much the voters are speaking. Now, Republicans didn't do great in the midterm elections, but they made headways in certain areas and unexpected areas. So, like I said, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah,
you started out with 3, now you're at 8.
I want to ask him about that. First of all, a small question. Tulsi Gabbard, now that she's a Republican, will she run as a presidential candidate in the Republican side? No.
No, I don't think she's garnered up that much party support at this point as in her tenure as a Republican to do that.
Right. No. But Ray, I do have one question. I mean, you mentioned Tulsi Gabbard. Obviously, there was a big expectation of a red wave nationally. Really didn't happen. It was more of a wave in New York State, thanks to votes from Lee Zeldin, basically the bottom of the ticket. We had a lot of Republicans getting seats in the Assembly, some getting state Senate, and they did they won all 4 seats, congressional seats in Long Island. But the New York the Republican Party is not really indicative of the National Republican Party. They don't even have the same concerns on many issues. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of New York Republicans who are pro-choice, and even would be pro-gun control for some even. It's not like New York Republicans are not the typical Republican.
Basically, he's saying we're not on the same page together. We are willing to take the Democrats in, make deals with them, even though they give us a spidgen when we want much more. I mean, I'm a little disappointed right now because I believe that my party, the Republican Party, which I've joined, and yes, I also switched parties, and I've always really been a Republican. I just wanted to win to make changes. I believe that they're going to support a Democrat above me when I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, and you make an interesting point, Ezra, too, where the party is in an odd territory right now, and you see it with I think the 7th round now of votes for Speaker of the House.
Exactly. It's embarrassing. I mean, it's almost comical. It would be comical if it wasn't such an important thing.
So America sees that the Republican Party.
It's not just America. It's the world sees it.
We have a clown.
We have a clown. We have a clown in the White House, and we have a Congress that can't get
What you're
back
making
together.
a mistake is, and Ray, it's America seeing that, hey, the Republicans do need a shot at the top spot, but if they can't get their act together, why should we give them a shot? Am I correct?
Yeah, you're definitely correct. And a couple of years ago, I used to look at the Democratic Party, and I used to say, wow, there's the AOC wing of the party, and then there's everybody else, and in between there was like another faction of the party, and they just seemed so discombobulated. And now the Republicans have sort of gotten to that point now where it's either the party of Trump or the party of the likes of Paul Ryan, Mitt Romney, and those. And the only thing I can say is that Republicans seem to be a little bit more rational and a little bit smarter. And I hope we don't go that direction of the Democratic Party where you have that super far left and then the centrist Democrats. Republicans just need to meet somewhere and just really put their support behind somebody, and especially for Speaker. If it's not going to be McCarthy, you've had 2 months to decide who it was going to be. Let's get our act together and let's settle this in the next couple of days.
But Ray, I'm just on your point. I think there's a very I think all three of us are Republicans. There's a very stark difference between Democrats, especially in Washington, in the House, and Republicans. No matter what division you have within the Democrats, you have the AOC and the ultra progressives and whatever they want to call the squad. They wouldn't go. When it came to game time, the Democratic Party stayed together. Nancy Pelosi really never had a true challenge to her, to her leadership. She listened to them. She talked her way around it. But Republicans have historically stabbed themselves shot themselves in the foot. Yeah, I mean, they got rid of Boehner. They got basically Ron was without any backbone. And right now, it seems like McCarthy is might have that same fate. It seems that you have a handful of Republicans who are sabotaging their own party, and this constantly happens with Republicans.
Do you think Ray McCarthy will be Speaker, or is it over?
I think it's over. I think there are certain people that are getting fed up with this process, and I think that as the days go on, he's going to lose more support, and I think that eventually they're going to have to coalesce behind someone, be it Jim Jordan, be it whoever it needs to be. But no, I think they're starting to lose patience.
Wow, Jim Jordan, you were right.
And I actually think that this is the first time a House Speaker has had such a small majority since John Nance, actually, in 1931.
Right.
So McCarthy did himself no favors in the midterms by not drumming up enough support and winning enough seats.
It's ironically enough, it's the ones that he helped keep their positions. Like, one of the biggest, his biggest opponents right now is Lauren Boebert. She won basically by a handful of votes. He put $2 million into her campaign, and she would have been reelected without him. So it seems like he did what he needed to do in order. Traditionally, put enough. You support them financially, you get their votes.
I'm actually surprised he flipped two Republicans that I never thought would. He flipped Marjorie Taylor Greene, right, and he flipped Thomas Massey, and they voted for him, which I'm surprised about.
I think Taylor Greene's she kind of showed her her hand yesterday. It seems that the rest of the Freedom Caucus didn't try to help her, and she was a little pissed, a little upset with them. So this is more like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But I don't know. I kind of disagree with you. I don't think that McCarthy's days are numbered yet. And one thing is, as good as we all like, Jim Jordan's a great leader. He's not the right guy to be the Speaker of the House. You need Jim Jordan on committees. You don't need him doing press conferences. You need him running committees. You need more of somebody who could do the backroom deals.
You a little. I heard in your voice the party of Trump. You're not happy with that. Why? Why do you say that? I like the party of Trump.
It's because the Republican Party is not the Republican.
Listen,
the party of Trump.
I wore a MAGA hat for since late 2015. I was a stock supporter of Trump. I think this version of Trump is a little concerning. I don't like the thing he did. I'll be blunt. I think the thing he did with the NFTs was very silly. He announced a major rollout and a major announcement. And then he announced that he was selling, digital trading cards for $99. And I'm not sure Trump has the same support and the same sort of like machismo that he did back in 2016, where he can gather thousands of people in a room and make them all excited about the campaign. I don't know. I feel like he's lost something.
I still see he has thousands of people that come
Well,
see
look,
him.
he's gonna win. He's gonna win if everything stays on course. He's going to get the nominations just because you need a plurality.
And has anybody else announced to run against him yet?
No, nobody's announced yet. I know people are interested, and I think everybody's kind of hinging on the decision of Ron DeSantis in Florida. I don't think he's going to run, but I think if he does decide to run, it's going to be him versus Trump, and that'll be it.
Well, I'm not too sure about that. I think Pence is going to run either way, and probably Asa Hutchinson.
Well, Pence is a joke. He won't be.
But he's going to run.
Yeah, exactly.
He is a joke.
He did. No, Pence did announce. I'm sorry.
No, he did not announce. He did not announce.
He something. He must have announced.
He announced he's thinking about it.
Ray, I want to go to local politics. What do you think of your mayor, Mayor Adams?
You know, I thought Mayor Adams was going to be a stark difference from Bill de Blasio. He was a former Republican. He was a former, officer. I think that Mayor de Blasio gave you a lot of headlines because of the constant stupidity and the constant things he said. And it sort of seems like Eric Adams pops out every once in a while. He says something that he fades back, and he's almost not out there enough. I always feel like we don't know anything about him. And it's kind of weird. And you're a year into his term, and he's not out there.
2 years?
1 year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
No, this is his second year. This is the beginning of the second year.
This is the beginning of the second year. Yeah.
Okay.
Time does fly, but not that fast.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like that. I'm unimpressed at this point.
Me too.
Obviously, the stench of de Blasio was still running along our city. So I'm hoping and praying that he is cleaning up the mess, and then he's going to enact things that help our communities locally, help our city, help bring businesses back to New York, get rid of the craziness, and support our NYPD. The things that we need. The things that we need as everyday New Yorkers.
Why isn't I know about your vaccine theory, and I have no problem that people took the vaccine, and I believe all mandates should be ended and over with. I believe that this COVID is over, even though they're saying that there's a new variant of it. I don't know why we're still forcing masks. Even in Jersey now, I hear they're forcing them to put masks back on the school. Shouldn't this just be over once and for all? We have the vaccine. We have Envirometron, whatever that other thing is. We have everything ready to rock and roll. Most people, as you can see over the last year, have not died. Even with the thing, is pandemic over? Why can't we say no more pandemic, for God's sakes?
We were always told to follow the science, and for a lot of people, we did follow the science. But we did the research, and the interpretation of science from one wing, the Democratic wing, is very different than the actual science that's out there. I'll say one thing: when the vaccine came out, I was excited that it came out. I thought that if this was going to be the be all end all, we were going to celebrate it. And what have we seen? We've seen we had pretty much last December was the highest spike. We actually had double or triple the amount of people positive with COVID in December of 2021 than we did in December of 2020. And we had a vaccine that was full, that you can go out anywhere pretty much and get it. So it was obvious that while there was a vaccine rollout and they were mandating everyone to get it, the science was proving that it wasn't preventing people from getting COVID, which we were told it was going to. Then we heard it was going to prevent hospitalization, which it did not. And then we were told it was going to prevent deaths. And a recent statistic just shows that the people that are dying with COVID are mostly vaccinated. So I'm trusting the science. I'm doing what I got to do. But the science that you're portraying is not actually science. It's almost like you're just putting mandates out there for power and control.
Well, that's exactly what it was. It was never about it. It was all about a power grab.
Right. Recently,
and that's why mandates are continuing, because
but it
it's a power. It doesn't matter.
That.
Those in power want power.
Is there any way when I get into city council that I can stop these mandates? Can I scream and holler? Can I do something?
You can be as loud as you want, and you have to drum up the support of your constituents and other members' constituents. Remember, as an elected official, you work for the people. So if enough people are able to see that you have the facts necessary, then other members of the city council should have no other option but to support that, because the facts are there and the support is there.
Will they be able to sanction me if I keep screaming and hollering and telling him to stop? Or they're going to say, listen, Heshi, if you don't stop screaming and hollering, we're going to sanction you and make you sit in the back in the corner like a little girl?
Heshi, will you sit back in the corner like a little girl? I don't think so.
I love you. I love you. Very right. But by the way, I just recently, I think I had pneumonia. And I kept going, and my doctor said, listen, you got to chill, you got to get better, you got to take care of yourself. And that's what you got to do when you get COVID or you get sick or you get a flu. You got to stay home, you got to take care of yourself, because if not, you're going to die because of whether it's a heart condition and you don't take care of that, or you don't go to the doctor if you have a lump or a cancer, you're going to die. You have to take care of yourself. So it's everything. So I don't believe this craziness of shutting down cities and closing down the country is going to work. Take care of yourselves. You're right, there's a spike every winter. You're right, there's this, they had some polio in Rockland County or something,
Right.
in the water and the waste. We always have something. Your objective, Ray, is to take care of yourself, take care of your family. You're a grown man, you're a smart man, and it shouldn't be the mayor, the governor, which I'm going to get to next, here to do budgets, to keep the city, to keep the money flowing. What do you think about your Governor Hochul, by the way?
She's terrible. There's really no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I mean, she's an extension of Cuomo. She was the lieutenant governor of Andrew Cuomo, and if the actual governor is going to be essentially fired from his job, I don't see why the lieutenant governor, someone who he cherry picked, God forbid something would happen to him to take over, took over immediately. It's a shame that Lee Zeldin didn't win. I honestly, leading up to the election, I really thought he had a chance, and I thought he would have been the right man for the job. But no, I mean, listen. Mandates are still in effect, and I want to just go back to that for a second, because you brought up so many good points. I think that the mandates need to stop for the simple fact that they should have never been put in place in the first time, because who did the mandates hurt? They hurted the little people. And I was talking to someone recently, and I said, why is it that in my community there was 10 hardware stores that all closed, but everybody was able to rush to Home Depot and stand in line and do what they got to do?
Right.
Why was it that all the convenience stores closed, but during the holidays, if you wanted to go to the mall and wait online for an hour for a candle from Bed Bath & Beyond, you could? Why did all the restaurants get closed when, if you think about it, they were really one of the only businesses that actually had to make adjustments and spend their own money to coincide with the regulations that COVID forced. The outdoor seating areas, to getting the permits, to building them, to inside their restaurants, creating, plastic barriers, switching over their menus from hand menus to electronic menus. Yet, anytime that the mayor or the governor decided, nope, you can't open, they had to listen. They were really the only people that really had to make adjustments to how they were operating their business, were the mom and pop shops, the little people, the people like me and you. But yet, big businesses were able to function as they normally would. It almost felt like it was just a transfer of wealth, honestly, the last 2 years.
And, they were giving violations to all the little guys, but not the big guys, and that's what bothered me the most. And I was promised, Ray, that most of these violations would be gone, and they're still in existence. They're still being postponed, and they're not being wiped out, and I don't know what to do about that.
They do have those summonses aren't going to be dismissed by themselves. You're going to have to make an appearance.
No,
But
they
most of them are
should be
ACDs.
automatically dismissed.
They're not going to, because
Because if somebody doesn't show up, they're going to default.
if somebody does show up, technically it'll be a bench warrant for them.
There is.
There will be a bench warrant. But the thing is, I mean, it's a power grab, and everybody, those in power want that power. So even if once you get to court, you're probably just going to get an ECD.
No, I have no problem
But
if you
at
get
the
a smaller fine, but I shouldn't even have to go to court. Ray, I want to ask you on two local issues that me and Ezra spoke about. Number one, George Santos. What's your opinion? Does he deserve the seat? Let's just forget what he lied. Let's see what he can do in Congress. He was duly elected. Wait a minute. When his term comes up, how long is his term for?
It's a 2-year term. He should not
Two-year
have
term.
it.
Wait
And
a minute.
he should not have
and
it.
in 2 years, let his people see if what do you say, Ray?
No, I agree. Listen, deception is a very bad quality to have, especially as a politician. And it's obvious that he deceives a lot of voters. And
What did
I
he
think
deceive?
that
Ray, what did he deceive? You know,
There's not. It's actually nothing the man has said or has proven to be true.
I mean, Ray,
Nothing he has said
Ray,
is proven
if you
to be
want to
true.
go through half of those congressmen who cheat on their wives, who are getting private, tips on the stock market, insider tips, or doing stuff that you don't even
That's
want to
not
know about.
Actually, this man, his whole sales pitch to be elected was nothing other than a fraud. It's a lot different than look, every congressperson is probably in there, and you say you're right. They're getting money that shouldn't be coming their way. They're getting those perks of the job, and many of them are not faithful to their spouses. But we don't vote them based on whether they're faithful. We don't vote for them.
We should.
Okay, you should you want to make limits on campaign on PAC contributions and lobbying. I said that already. I think lobbying is a big racket, but that's not what happened with George Santos. George Santos isn't like everybody else. George Santos went in there and said, my name is George Santos. Maybe it's true or not. This is what happened. The man lied about. I'm not even gonna go into what schools he went to, where he worked. We don't even Where did this $700,000 that he let this campaign come from? That's the biggest issue.
No, they're screaming.
That's an illegal.
They're screaming about his schooling.
That's because everything else about the man is a lie. Why should I trust him about the? But
Ray,
the crux of the issue, though, I'm
so-
not gonna kick him out for his lying about
So
who
Ray,
was school.
he has to go. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ezra's correct. If these things come out and every everything levied against him is true. First off, I think that the court of public opinion will make him go. I think that in 2 years he's going to have an election, and I think it'll be very difficult for him to win.
Okay, got you. And
Heshy wants to see him
talking
finish his 2 years.
I want to see him finish the 2 years. What do you think? Should the ethics committee throw him out? I mean, if McCarthy wins, he's helped McCarthy. McCarthy owes him a favor.
McCarthy's not going to be on the ethics committee.
I know
The
he's not
Speaker of the
gonna be-
House is not on any committee.
I understand, but you're telling me it's a 50-50 vote.
It's a 50-50
And
vote
if
of the
McCarthy
committee
tells
to
all
make
his
a recommendation.
Republicans to behave themselves, they will vote. They'll keep George Santos in.
Actually, this guy has been a blight on the Republican Party
Is
for
that
the
it,
last
Ray?
2 weeks.
Ray, your personal opinion goes now or not?
I would say goes now, yeah.
Wow. Okay, question number 2. Lester Chang. They sat him. What are your opinion on him?
They deserve to sit him. I mean, when you filed to run for office before. If the Board of Elections did not flag anything about this gentleman, and he won an election fair and square, he deserves to be sat.
Then we go back to George Santos.
No,
Nobody said anything about him. He won the
No,
election.
No.
fair.
Heshy, it's two different things. Residency requirements is something that has to be litigated. If you want to litigate, you litigate before the man's name is on the ballot. Okay? He did the procedure. Nothing has changed in what Lester Chang has said. He's always said, I live here. You don't believe me? You should have challenged it when you had a chance.
So you
George
don't think-
Santos has
you
lied about
don't
who he
think-
is and what he does.
So you don't think that the Republicans are going to knock out?
You mean the Democrats?
Democrats are going to knock out Lester Chang?
They're going to try.
They're going to try. Or
They're
not?
going to try. They'll
What
do
do you
an
think?
Article 78 and try and stay in.
You think so, Ray?
Of course, they're going to try. I mean, this is part of the game. But I like I said, I mean, the gentleman filed to run an election. The BOE absolutely flagged. They didn't flag anything. He was cleared to run as a candidate in the district, and he won the election fair and square. I mean, the number of votes that he had were more than Mr. Abadi. So that's that.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a couple of some people are commenting and they're saying that the McCarthy is it's not his party anymore and he should go. And they also saying, like you said, and also that the Trump thing was just a publicity stunt. That's all it was, just to keep his name going. So
Look, Trump. Honestly, the way Trump has started his new campaign is something you do in high school. I'm serious. I mean, he's embarrassing himself, and look, he had an uphill battle to begin with because there are still more people in this country who hate him than like him.
Actually, I need to hear the Trump that I supported and loved in 2016.
Right.
I need to hear that he's going to drain the swamp. I need to hear the build a wall talk. I need to hear him get back to core issues that so many Americans, millions of Americans, came out and they had the caravans about him for. I need to hear those core issues. I need to hear him talk about how he's going to how we're going to get back to feeling confident about our elections again. There are so many things that I need from 2016 Trump to come into 2024 Trump and make me support him again. Yes, I agree. Ezra, the rollout to his campaign so far is not great. So, I mean, he can only go up from here, and I anticipate him going up from here, and I look forward to supporting him again. That's
So
without a doubt.
I do have a question because we all liked Trump in 2020. We all liked him in 2016. I mean, I personally,
I liked him.
I voted for him begrudgingly on 2016 because I wasn't convinced. But I did vote for him in the national election. I was actually a Rubio supporter, but he never made it to the New York ballot in the primary yet. But that being said, the Trump, his policies, the results were tremendous. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find another president who had such a very good one term. But you could have those policies, you could have that, you could have even that philosophy, but it doesn't have to be through Donald Trump. There's a misconception that MAGA equals Donald Trump and only Donald Trump.
People are scared to do what
But
he
they're
does.
not, because Ron DeSantis is doing the same exact thing.
I don't know.
Ron DeSantis is doing the same thing.
Is that true? Ron DeSantis is doing the same thing.
So let me bring up this point. In 2016, we all loved Trump because why? I think for me, I'm in the construction industry
because he spoke your language. He spoke your language.
Yeah, he spoke my language exactly. And then he became president of the United States, and everyone either thought that he was actually going to drain the swamp, or he was going to become an insider. He was going to become a part of the big old party that is known as Washington D.C. I think that these 4 years taught him that he is not part of that party. He needs to have more fire and more desire to step into Washington and clean up the mess now more than ever.
I agree.
Because now we need it more than ever. The last 2 years, Donald Trump was on pace to become the best president economically, as far as foreign policy goes, as far as tariffs go to other countries. We were revered as serious again. And the last 2 years of his presidency are completely marred by COVID. So he needs to come back.
It wasn't only COVID. He wanted the Democrats to mess themselves up.
No, it was
he gave it to them. He could have fought them during COVID. He took Invectrum, whatever he calls it. He did to keep himself going. He wasn't scared. He could have told everybody you can use this stuff. He could have fired Fauci right away. He got scared. He scared himself off, and he wanted. And I love him. I do like him. I wish he stayed president, and I wish he wins again. What do you think? Give me your outlook, because we're coming to the end of the show. I want to know what you believe, as besides you're in the construction industries like me, what do you believe in not only New York, which is very important to you and me, for 2023? Do you have a good outlook? Do you feel that they're going to come after us? Do you feel we'll have a good year? Is the 2 years of craziness behind us, and are we going to have finally a 2023 that will take us into a beautiful 2024, or are we just going to go through this pain and every day waking up scared of what's going to happen again another day?
Well, we were supposed to have a red wave last year, and we didn't. We had a red puddle. I like to call it.
Wow, that's very good. I'm writing that down.
I call it red ripple, but I like the puddle's good also.
No, red puddle is much better.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that. Go ahead.
I hope that people learn from their mistakes. In the next couple months and the next year, I think people will see that they did learn from their mistakes. Some Democrats got elected, some got reelected, and Kathy Hochul is one of them. And they really put their stamp on the state. And I think that the state, the city, the country, whatever it may be. And I think that things are not only not going to change for the better, but they're going to change for the worse. All I can hope is that these people understand that they made their own bed. And you have to lay in it for now, but you have the opportunity to change that.
I disagree with you, Ray. I know we made our own bed. We made a mistake. We can't just take it. We can't take it.
Your mistake has a consequence. A vote has a consequence.
Yeah, but the point
an election has a consequence. When Kathy Hochul got reelected, when the Democrats got reelected, that they still have a supermajority in the state assembly and even in the Senate. When Kathy Hochul cannot even appoint a moderate person who's highly qualified as to be the chief judge of the Court of Appeals, because he was a prosecutor at some point in his career. I will tell you something. I'm a career defense attorney. Former prosecutors are much fairer judges than former defense attorneys by and large. Okay,
really?
By and large, because former defense attorneys know what their clients do. and they take it on their clients. But because Judge LaSalle is a moderate Democrat, because he ruled against a couple unions during some cases. So now you have the extreme left wing. They're not even they're gonna stop him from even getting his nomination through committee.
Oh yeah.
That basically they just voted yesterday, increased the committee numbers so that there are now enough left wing Democrats who could block his nomination for going through the committee.
Isn't that cheating?
Of course it is, but that's who you voted for.
And how do we fix that?
It's called an election, but the problem is the way New York is set up. New York State is set up. You're going to need 4 or 5. You want to call them puddles. I mean, New York actually had a red wave in New York State this election cycle, just considering how the numbers were stacked up against them to begin with. The Republicans were in the beginning.
Ray, are you done with politics, or are you coming back to us?
I am never done with politics.
I love you, but God forbid I do win, which I believe I will. I want you to come back too. I mean, I want you to run, and you could join me over there in city council.
Listen, I always say I'm 32. The first time I ran, I was 27, and I gained a lot of experience.
I'm so proud.
I gained a lot of experience. Yeah, at that time, if I was elected, I would have been obviously the youngest elected official in New York City, New York State. But I'm gaining more and more experience. I'm a young pup as far as politics goes. I feel old, but I'm a young pup as far as politics goes. So I'm gaining experience. I'm learning. I'm having fun working on campaigns for various candidates, and the desire to make my community better and to make the city better never goes away, and it'll never go away.
Well,
so that's.
I believe I'm a young pup too. I also started in 2017, and I believe I'm a young pup, but I think I learned my lesson. I think I'm ready to rock and roll. I think I can beat him, and I know I can't trick you, but I'm still trying to con you to join my campaign. You know, the people that are on my team, they're very, very good, these new guys, and they're going to take me to the next level. And Ray, we're going to try to kidnap you one night and try to con you into working with us. I don't know how, but you are just a wonderful man. May God bless you, and thank you so much for joining us on the show. And give us some parting words. Tell us something that you think will be good about 23, because you just made me feel bad. Something, Ray.
So I'll make it feel better. I'm pessimistic about the next 2 years and what we elected here, and the reign of Kathy Hochul. But I'm optimistic that people will wake up, because they normally do. I think that there is a pendulum as far as politics goes, and if it swings hard one way, it tends to swing back even harder the other way after a certain amount of time. So keep the faith, keep your head up, and I think we are on to good things for the next couple of years for our party, for our city, for our state, and ultimately for our country.
Good. Make sure you mention to the party to take me and to accept me, for God's sakes. I need help, because I'm fighting that party, and I really want them to take me. I love you, Ray. You're a good man. May God bless you. And dinner is on me if you ever come down to my Brooklyn neighborhood. I know you're busy over there in your fancy Gravesend people. But
I grew up in Gravesend, so be careful. I grew up in Gravesend.
I don't care, but you guys are better us. You're the better Flatbush people.
I will certainly take you up on that offer soon.
You got it, my brother. I love you. Good night. You see, that is a young, smart, intelligent. He's working on campaigns. He's going to get people elected. I wish he would have got elected. He was also screwed and messed around with, but he's learned his lesson. And look at him, a young, smart construction guy who has a future ahead of him, and he's very pessimistic about stuff. And that's not good when you have a guy like that that has to fight every day when he knows that he should have won. Look how many meals he served. He's better than me.
But the reality is,
I know.
Nothing changed. The reality is, Kathy Hochul's still the governor. Democrats still run the state, and they still run the city, and they're running it to the ground.
By the way, Christopher Messi texted that Ray was a solid. I love you, Christopher. Why didn't you say something to us? All I know is right now DeSantis has still not announced that he's running.
He's not going to announce. Nobody's going to announce until the springtime at the earliest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe I said Pence is probably going to run because he has nothing left to do except to run for president. And he's the only. It would be a very interesting debate if he does run.
He'd lose against him.
It doesn't matter. It'd be a very interesting debate because he will embrace the Trump agenda and the Trump accomplishments because he played a large part in it. And then, but he's gonna have to detract. He's He's gonna have to separate himself from being, Trump the person, because vice president is usually seen as the extension of the person they serve.
I want to ask you a question, Ezra. Do you think I'd be a good councilman?
Do I think you'd be a good councilman? I think you could be an excellent councilman. But the thing is,
Go ahead.
the thing is, the reality is,
Here we go. My
the
friend.
reality is, no, I'm saying the reality is, you're running it against an incumbent who is.
Forget running against him. I'm asking you if I get elected. What do you think?
Look, I think you make an excellent vocal minority. And that's really what it is. And we need excellent vocal minorities, because the only way change happens is when people on the inside are showing that the people, their colleagues, are full of it.
Right.
So you need look, it's going to be a long time before the if ever, that the Republicans take over the city council. I don't remember it ever happened. I don't think it ever happened in my lifetime. Even though we've had Republican mayors, but that doesn't mean that you can't be a vocal minority and get things done.
Nope.
Hold on, we have a guest on the phone. We have a guest for who is this wonderful guest that called into the phone?
I couldn't resist. It's Christopher Messina calling you guys.
Hello,
how are you?
my
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Christopher,
Chris,
love
I'm
you.
sorry I missed you the last time you were here.
Yes, I'm very sorry. I can't be there tonight. Good guess. Raise a solid guy.
He's a young guy, smart guy, pessimistic, but and some optimistic. And you heard his parting comments. And we have a few minutes with you. You tell me, are you pessimistic on 2023 or are you optimistic on 2023? And
I am optimistic on 2023 for Florida, Greenland, and Botswana, and I'm deeply pessimistic about all the blue states.
Wait a second, Chris. Wait, so
you
you should be very optimistic, because it looks like we're not going to have a Congress to mess things up for the next 2 years.
Well,
and that might be a good thing. And that might be a good thing.
I'm actually proud of what they've done today, because if you want to be the Speaker of the House of the Republican Party, and you're not willing to commit to basic core things like small government, balanced budget, like, you don't deserve to be Speaker.
Boy, so
we've been
the,
letting these clowns ruin the country in a bipartisan way.
Beautiful.
Democrats and rhinos destroying us.
But the thing
Good
is,
for them for standing up.
wait a second. Look, McCarthy is not a rhino. He has more than 90. He has more than 90% of the party supporting his candidacy to be Speaker. So I mean,
Right.
when using called rhinos, rhinos has been thrown out to anyone who doesn't agree with the Trump agenda. And the biggest rhino, if you want to ask me, is Trump, because he became a Republican when he went serious purposes.
I will stand corrected in my terminology. I refer to him that way. I refer to any politician that does not agree with. We have to radically cut this government back down to size before we experience what the Greeks did with rampant hyperinflation.
I agree
That's
with
where we're going.
I agree with you, but I don't think that McCarthy supports more taxes. I mean, no,
but he does. He also, if you can't even stand up and say, part of what I want to do as Speaker of the House is slash the size of government. How is that hard to say as the Republican Speaker of the House? Why is that hard to say? That's what they asked for.
But they asked for a lot more things. They asked for committee assignments and committee gavels. We know that.
Do you have another selection?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have another selection instead of McCarthy?
I don't, and this is part of the problem. Is it is so insanely dysfunctional what we've got. All I could pray for 2 years is gridlock. So McCarthy is as good as any.
Wow.
If they just sit and do nothing, that's our dream, and then DeSantis can come in and fix things for 8 years.
So now you do think DeSantis is going to be running, because I'd be
Oh,
president.
he's absolutely going to run.
A year ago, you thought differently.
Oh, he's absolutely going to run.
And
There's no question.
But do you think he'll get the plurality? I mean, it's not going to be a majority. You think he could get the plurality?
Yes, I do. I think Trump is, as you pointed out, running a high schoolers campaign. The people that helped him last time are nowhere to be found.
But his
and beyond
base,
that,
his
quite
base
frankly,
is there.
every damn boomer should be gone. Enough.
I agree.
Enough already. Go bake cookies for the kids.
I agree with you, but the problem is Trump's base is still there. And, he doesn't need a majority, because it's not going to be two people on the stage. It's going to be more than two people on the stage. So he's just going to need a plurality.
Unfortunately, everything he has done recently, anyone who liked his policies and just cringed and held their nose at the man.
Agreed.
No matter what happened on January 6th, I don't care.
Right.
When you start to say things like, well, we should suspend the Constitution if things don't go the way I like,
100%
already.
agreed. But I'm just worried about those who liked his policies and liked the man. That's what I'm worried about.
I don't think there's going to be enough of them
Okay.
to create the vote that he gets the nomination.
Because I honestly
don't
think
it's
I honestly think if he gets the nomination, you're looking at another 4 years of whether it's Biden, Harris, or any other person.
It'll
with
be
the D by them.
anybody.
Any
they could put up AOC and she'd win.
Any Democrat could beat him. Any Democrat could beat Trump.
Yeah,
and
that's the main problem with Trump is he's never ever been a team player, and he happened to accidentally run against the one person he could beat, which is Hillary.
That's what I said 2 weeks ago.
Well,
You're a smart man.
I want you to know, I want you to know I'm never going to give up. I was sitting with Linda all day today, and she saw that we were getting donations, and people were calling in, and we're almost going to reach. We need another like 10 grand to reach our max and go to war, and we're going to go to war. We're not going to fight. I feel embarrassed to tell you, my friend, Christopher, that it's not going to be a pretty one this time. I'm going to be. I feel bad that I'm going to have to fight a war, and I'm hoping.
You got to get down in a street fight. That's how you win in the city.
And I don't believe it's the right way, but I'm going to have to fight him, and that's what it looks like. But I want you to know I'm going to do it. I'm never going to give up for our citizens. I'm going to keep fighting. Everybody, HeshyTishler.com. Don't forget you too, little Mr. Christopher Massey. I love you.
No doubt.
God bless you. Me and Linda coming down to Florida, and we're going to find a kosher deli down there to take you and your beautiful wife and kid out. Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the show. Chris, I love you.
Good night, Chris.
Bye-bye. See you guys. Ciao.